All right, so welcome back again. This is going to be the last chapter that we're going to be looking over before our first exam. Okay, so again, this is dealing with the last section for your customers, which is talking about estimates and invoicing. Okay, so again, every single chapter, if you're following along with me, tells you exactly which file to have open, which is going to be Estimates 21. Okay. And of course, now let's first start off with what an estimate is. Well, in this case, when we are using or creating an estimate, right? What is that? Well, in QuickBooks, it's another way of giving your customers a bid or, a quote. All right. So they know what your services and what products that they can purchase from you. So it's very common, especially for a service type of business. Okay. You more commonly see estimates over something that has a service provider. Okay. Because in this case, right, if it's a product, obviously, right, we can be able to look up either anywhere, right? We'd be able to look up example like Amazon or some kind of marketplace that allows you to be able to look up a product. Where if this is a service, right, you want to definitely look at the pricing. You want to look at what packages that they have, what deals, what special, offers that they offer. So again, what an estimate does is basically it allows customers to get a quote and it basically gives them an idea of what your company provides or what do they do and how much it is going to be. Now, especially as a photography type of business, right? That's definitely something that you would most likely see a estimate for, because again, hey, I'd like to have a quote for how many hours or what is your sales price, or what is the price of it if I had an hour photo shoot, or do you have photographers, et cetera, right? What's your price and how long does it cost per hour, or whatever, what deals, or what is your service, right? So again, a lot of people are more likely to do estimates for that. Now, what an estimate does is it doesn't actually affect your sales at all, because it is considered a non-posting type of transaction. It doesn't affect your sales, is because it's a potential sale, right? In this case, estimates are not guaranteed. Again, anybody can call in and just ask for a quote, and it's up to them to whether they agree to the quote, or if not, they can disregard you and say, maybe I found someone else. All right, they are not guaranteed sales. Okay, they are just potential prospects for the company. Now, of course, the great thing about being given the opportunity of creating those estimates is that you're able to track those estimates, so then you can go ahead and follow up on those prospects to see if they're still interested in your services or products that you sell. Okay, so in this case, that's the primary thing that we want to be able to show you in this class, is because, again, if you work for a company that sells a service, right, this is definitely something that you should learn, because you could be the person that's sitting out there and being the sales representative, or someone who has knowledge about the products that you sell in your company. You should be able to build a quote, or be able to whip up a program or something like that, right? So that's what estimates do. All right. Now, this is very important because when we actually started the QuickBooks, right? When we actually in chapter 12, when we actually set up QuickBooks, right? There was a few questions that we went through over the interview, right? The easy step interview. And that is setting up whether you're using estimates, okay? So if I click on edit preferences and I go to jobs and estimates, right? And company preferences, right here, it says right here, do you create estimates? And I said yes, okay? So that's important that you do have it on. But again, that's only tailored to your specific company. If you don't, if you're just a strictly products only, then yeah, you may not need an estimate because what's the point of building something that really building your products, okay? But you could still use estimates if you're like, if you are selling a product that you can build your own products, maybe that could be definitely something that you could do. So if you're trying to build your own computer, right, that would be perfect for an estimate, right? What parts can I put together to build my computer? That would definitely be something that maybe a computer company that personalize or custom makes items could use estimates for. All right. Now again, like I said, it's most commonly that for service types of companies would most likely have an estimate because of you know, it's mostly time based, if that makes any sense. So if you take a look here, right, because I said yes to estimates, now it shows me right here that if I have an estimate, it could potentially become a sales order or it could potentially become straight an invoice. Okay. Now again, we'll talk about sales orders. It's very brief because what a sales order actually does is it's essentially a guaranteed sale. When a customer calls in and says, hey, I'd like to request for these products and these services, that's a guaranteed sale because they're calling you to say, I want this. Where the estimates, right, it's more like, okay, I'm calling you to ask you what this is, okay? And if they agree, then you have the choice, right? You can either make it a potential sales order or you could actually convert it directly into an invoice, okay? So again, that is estimates. And if I go ahead and click on estimates, the similar pop-up comes up with the same kind of looking format. So this is our estimates, okay? So let's take a look at our first example of how to create an estimate in QuickBooks. So here you go. We have Garrison family portrait in this example here. Okay, Garrison family portrait. So here it looks like they want an indoor photo session, photo paper, and some retouching done. Okay. So let's go ahead and enter this information in here. So if I were to go ahead and do that, so I'm already here in my estimates, I type in Garrison because in this case, they've already entered this customer in. So here you go, Garrison family portrait, okay. I believe they belong to the San Jose location. Yes, San Jose. And we want a custom estimate, okay, which is already selected, okay. So they belong to the San Jose location, okay. Now in this case, they're building an estimate for something that's going to happen into the future, which yes, most potential jobs, right, are usually quoted out either a couple months ahead, especially for a photo shoot. Most common ones would usually be a wedding photo shoot. Usually those things are booked 6 months or even a year in advance, okay? And that's exactly the same ordeal here where Garrison Family Portraits, they want to do something in the future. So in this case, they want to do it February 14, 2015. Now, again, we're in the 2021, and if I have to use my calendar to go through each and every single month of the year, here's a little quick way you could do it. You could type in February 14, 2025, and instead of entering or tabbing, you could go ahead and actually click on that calendar, and it will tell you right here that this is the date that you want, and you said yes. So again, recommendation is never to type in your dates because you could make many typos or you might enter in a date that isn't the right date, okay? Definitely use a little calendar icon. However, for some kind of scenario like this where you have to pull something out further in the future, type it in and then use your calendar to confirm that this date is correct. Okay, and of course, if this is going to be an estimate that's going to happen in 2025, that's exactly what you're going to do. 2025, and this will be your first estimate of that year. Okay. So again, in the items we have here is going to be in indoor photo session. Okay. We have photo paper. Okay, and we have some retouching that they want. Okay. So here's the list of the items that they want. Now let's talk about the quantity. Okay, so in this case, they want to have, I believe, 4 photo sessions. Okay, they want 4 indoor photo sessions. So in this case, our prices is going to be $95 per hour. So 4 of them is going to calculate to you to be a total of $380. Okay. For photo packages or for photo paper, they want 10 of them. Okay. Let me double check in the book. They want 10 of them. Okay. Now in this case, right, I can choose to mark up my price because in this case, Garrison Family, they don't know really what our prices are, right? Of course, like you should reveal your prices, right? But in this case, remember we have different groups of customers, right? We have our commercial group and we have our residence group, or we have, we tailor to specific customers. And in this case, right, usually in most cases, when you're looking at a first-time buyer or a first-time customer, usually you're more likely to give them a discount. But in this case, we're actually going to be marking up their prices because they don't know how much our photo paper goes for sale, and that's what they want to do. We have the ability to actually mark up the value before, and when they agree to it, when they don't really know, then you can choose from there that you could charge them more for what it normally is. And in this case, right here under markup value, we're actually going to mark up this this photo paper to be 25%. So 25%. And of course, if you hit this little tab button or this little drop down menu, it will give you an option. Are you going to charge them based on a sales price? So again, you can give them a flat rate. Like you could say, well, I'm going to charge them an additional X amount of dollars. Or you can actually do it as a percentage. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to mark them off by percentage. Okay, and then it's supposed to say 25%. So there you go, 25%. And it says here, did you know that QuickBooks can help you set your prices. Okay, cool. All right, there you go, 25%. So now it went up from 123 to now 145. That was supposed to be 150. Huh. That's weird. It's supposed to be 150, not 145. 25% markup should give you 150. Nope. 25%. Oops. 25%. Okay. Whatever. I'm just going to leave it because it's supposed to be 20. Okay, so because the sale price was actually supposed to be $12.50. There you go. Okay, so again, now we are looking at retouching. They want to have 2 hours of retouching. So this is their quote that they have here. So once again, it's the items that are taxable. Items that are not taxable, which most of them are not taxable. So again, they're going to be charged at Santa Clara tax. Again, you definitely want to say thank you for your interest in our company. You could do whatever you'd like to say that, you could say hope you are interested in our company. Things, whatever you want to say, because at the end of the day, you are printing this estimate for them to take home. Now, in this case, it says right here, thank you for your business. In this case, okay, there you go. Thank you for your business, okay? And in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and say that, of course, this is an estimate, right? For photo sessions, 10 photo papers, and 2 retouching. Okay, whatever kind of note that you want to put there, right? And again, we're going to go ahead and save and close. Okay. Now, what happens when I need to modify or have to go ahead and make changes to my estimate? Well, I mean, you could go back to the estimates and click the previous, or what you could do is you could actually look up that person and be able to locate their estimate. So Garrison, right here, and here they have their estimate, and then you could go ahead and double click on it, and you'd be able to modify at any given time that you want. Okay. So with that being said, right, we can modify our estimates at any given time that we want, and et cetera, right? Because in this case, right, this is a potential sale. They may not even agree with this setting, right? They might even ask you to create another estimate to kind of be within their budget or whatever that makes them feel the most comfortable with this plan. So again, because this is an estimate and it doesn't actually affect your sales, you can make as many estimates as you want for this particular customer, right? Especially, you definitely don't want to modify every single one, just because, in this case, if they ask you for one estimate, right, and let's say they make another, they ask you, well, what if I want only 2 hours of the photo session and five photo papers, right? And you go back and you modify it, but then they're like, wait, no, go back to the other estimate. Then you have to recreate that other estimate, or you have to enter in or modify all that. So the best way that you could do is just create another estimate. So then again, if you're in person with them, you could print out copies of these estimates and give it to them put it on the desk and show them. Though this is your first estimate. This is your second option, and this is your third option. Okay? And with that being said, again, no matter how many estimates you create, it won't affect anything in the business of 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 your QuickBooks, because it's a non-posting transaction, right? It's a potential sale. It's not guaranteed. So again, at the end of the day, if they end up walking away with all three of the estimates and they tell you, okay, let me decide and I'll give you a call back next week, and they just don't call you back, well, at the end of the day, you're responsible to just go ahead and give them a call back and be like, hey, are you still interested in these services? Okay. So again, yes, you can modify all of your estimates whenever you feel like it. Again, if it's something that you prefer to do instead of making another whole entire estimate later, that's fine too. Okay. So again, entering an estimate is just as easy as entering anything into QuickBooks, right? We've entered in invoices, we've entered in this, except the only difference is that we're creating a non-posting transaction. Okay? Any questions?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So here, the next step is, okay, so let's say Garrison Family Portrait decides to say, yes, I'd like to take your estimate and I'd like to proceed with this estimate. So then, therefore, they agreed and they want to proceed with the quote that I gave them. So there are many ways that you could do it, right? You could go straight to the estimate and click up here and can convert it into an invoice directly of course, on their actual estimate. Or you could simply just go to create invoices and be able to pull up their information that way. So again, invoicing, right? And if I type in Garrison Family Portrait, right, I get this window saying, whoa, wait, before you move on, you've created an estimate for Garrison. Did you want to use this as part of your invoice? And in this case, you could select this and say yes, and it will pull all the information in there for you. All right, obviously you're going to change the invoice number because it's not going to be this, right? It's going to be 2025-101. Okay, and in this case, right, it's asking now, well, is this what you want? Is this the procedures, and is this what you're going to be giving to your customer? And in this case, yes. Now, what if you already completed the job, right? Because they agreed, right? Okay, it's going to be done on February 14 of 2025. Let's say it is February 14, 2025, and you ended up actually doing less services. Maybe you were so good at doing the retouching that you ended up doing it in 1 hour instead of using 2. Well, yes, you can modify anything that you want in the invoice window, right? I could say, well, I'm going to actually say that I actually only used 1 retouching for this family, and then so now it reduces the amount that they owe. Now, of course, they didn't make any payments ahead of time, so I'm not subject to have to give them a refund or anything. But I'm going to bill them because an estimate was created. They agreed that the job was going to be done, and when the job was completed, this is what I'm going to actually be billing my customers. Of course, I'm not going to cheat my customer and have them pay for an extra hour of retouching when I only did it in 1 hour. Okay, that's the thing about ethics, right? And in this case, I'm going to say, you know what? Or in this case, if they're a first-time user, you could be like, you know what? I'll give you a discount by saying, you know what? I'm going to have you just pay for 1 of the retouchings. Right? Whatever you want to say. Okay? And of course, I'm going to give my notes, which is thank you for your business. And of course, I'm going to change this because they had all this information is true except the retouching, right? the retouching, you could also change this and just say maybe this was day 1 of the Garrison family photo. They had a photo shoot. Okay? You could do whatever you want here because at the end of the day, you can always pull up the invoice and figure out what the information was here. So again, I'm probably gonna change this and say family photo shoot. Okay. And once everything looks good and you're finalizing your invoice, right? Notice this, making sure that all of your price points are the same. So again, 150 is what we originally charged them for the photo paper instead of the previous amount. So again, everything looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and save and close. All right. And then you're going to get this window saying problem. Okay, another invoice. Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, so again, there's another invoice for 2025-101. So let's see what the book is supposed to say. Okay, so in this case, we're just supposed to do 25-1. Okay, so then save and close. There you go. Now I got my beep of approval, and I've invoiced my Garrison family, right? So then that means, let's take a look here. Garrison, where is Garrison? Right here. So here, you still have an estimate and you still have an invoice. Now, here's the cool thing about having this or in this case, I didn't convert my estimate into an invoice, right? That's the difference here. What I can do is, what if Garrison was like, wow, I really like your services and I want the same exact package. Can you build me another, can you set up another date for me to do another photo shoot exactly like this? Okay, but this time in a different location. Okay, so that's a great thing about estimates is you can always create invoices off of estimates at any single given time. Maybe Garrison was like, well, this time can I do option 2 instead of option 1? Okay, well, we'll just take that estimate and we'll just convert it into an invoice on that actual date you want to do another photo session. Okay, so again, that's the cool thing about having those estimates is that you're always able to build an invoice off of these estimates over and over and over again. Obviously, different date and different time and different things, right? But if that's the case here, you could always either keep the estimate the way it is because, again, we talked about it, right? Estimate number 1 could include all of this. Estimate number 2 could include half of the stuff that's on here. Or estimate number 3 could have a variety of things. Maybe instead of an indoor photo shoot, it's an outdoor photo session. Okay? You can build your estimates however you like, as many as you like, for one particular person. And again, whichever one that they agree to, you could process the invoice over and over and over and over again. Okay, that will save you one extra time on having to do everything manually, right? Because you already have an estimated created for this person. Okay, any questions here?
No.
Okay. Okay, so now the next section that we have here is called progress invoicing. Okay. Now, once again, when I mentioned before, right, when we did the Easy Step interview, okay, they had a question for you. Okay, well, if you have estimates, are you also going to want progress invoicing? Well, what is progress invoicing? It's pretty simple, where when you take an estimate, right, or a project even, what you can do is you can actually break it down into specific amounts, or in this case, you can split up a project or an estimate so then you can invoice them in a manner. So a great example would be if Miss Maria Cruz, right? She had a branch opening that required us to be there for a whole week, which is not all 7 days, but 4 days a week. And in that case, right, instead of billing her for the whole entire amount, we bill her every day that one day has been completed. Okay.
Lynette, Magdi had a question.
Yes.
Because he raised his hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I heard that. But yes, go ahead, Magdi. What's your question? Magdi?
I guess not.
Okay. 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 All right. So again, progress invoicing, right, is where you can build a project and you can split up the payments or the invoicing in increments. Okay. Or in this case, you could build upon like maybe progress wise, right? Let's say you're building a building for 4 months, right? You have a building that you want to build in 4 months. Every single month after you've done your estimate of all the materials and everything that you need, you can build it based on the completion of every single month. All right? That is what progress invoicing does. Okay? So with that being said, all right, so what we're going to do here is that you do need to make sure, because in this case, right, that was one of the questions you were asked during the interview. So if I go back to my jobs and estimates window, jobs and estimates company. Now, again, I said right here, do you create estimates? Yes, you do. Now, the next question here is, do you do progress invoicing? And it's right now, it's selected as no. You need to turn that on, okay? Once you've done this, right, this is where the important step is, because it's going to create a second window that will automatically pop up. There is no progress invoicing button. There is no progress invoicing, like there's no way to activate it except for doing it right here in the preferences. So I click OK and I click OK, right? So even if on my home page, there is no progress invoicing, right? Because progress invoicing is essentially building an invoice based on your estimate or based on a sales order. So in this case, there is no window, or in this case, there is no way to manually press I want progress invoicing. It's a pop-up window that activates when you do start selecting your estimate and process your invoicing. It will give you that option. Okay, so let's go ahead and do an example right now. So first, I need to build my estimate in the first place in order to be able to complete or do my progress invoicing. So in this case, we have Anderson Wedding. And this time it's for Sarah and Michael. Okay? And I believe they are, let's see, I want to say San Jose. Let's see, San Jose is where they're from, okay? And here's the list of all the things that they want from me. All right? They want to have outdoor photo sessions, photographers, photo papers, and retouching. Okay? So this time they want an outdoor photo session. Okay? Okay. They also want
Photographer?
Photographer, thank you. I just had a blank. I had a blank moment. Photographer, they want photographers, right? They also want photo paper. Okay? And of course, they want some retouching to be done. Okay? Now, of course, now let's go and talk about the quantities. So in this case, I believe they wanted, let's see, they want 20 hours of outdoor photo sessions. They want 20 photographers, and they want 40 photo papers, and they want 4 retouchings. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. So the first one that they want is 20 photo sessions. In this case, I'm not going to touch that number because this one is fine. That's what my standard pricing is. I'm not going to mark that one up. However, they wanted 20 photographers. In this case, I've already have it marked up at 66%. Okay? So that means I'm already saying, well, you know, my photographers are pretty expensive, so it's going to cost you an additional 66%. I'm going to mark that up. So that means each photographer is not $75. It's actually more than that. All right? And then, of course, they also want some photo paper as well. Right now, I'm going to mark that up since they want 40 of them. I'm going to mark that up 25%. Okay? Because my price right now is $12. It should be actually $12.50 once again. So again, that's going to be $500 in grand total. And of course, they want 4 hours of retouching. Okay. Okay, so there you go. All right. So that's what the Anderson Wedding photo session wants to do.
So the total is 54.29.50, and the total on this one is 53.48.31. Oh, I see. Okay, you're still inputting. My bad.
Okay, hold on. Let me double check because sometimes I don't know why they keep changing the prices. So in this case, okay, so it's supposed to be $12. Hold on. They want 40, 20, 20, 40, 40. Okay. So see, now it says 600 instead of 500. What is going on? Okay, let me go ahead and figure this out. So my sessions are 1,900, 2,500, 600, and 380. So let me go ahead and see this. Okay, so this one. Okay, so is this supposed to be $15 now? Let me see. Nope. Okay. Is this supposed... It says on there it's $25. $12, right? But that doesn't even give you 600. And I marked it... Oh, okay. I need to do a percentage.
There we go.
There. Nope. It's still the same thing.
Do you actually have to put the percentage? Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So this is one of the occasions where if you do put the percentage, it will activate it there. So there you go. $600. There you go. So this should match your book now. Again, thank you for your business. And this one, it's up to you what you want to put in there. This is a lot of information. You could just say wedding photo shoot. And when everything looks good, oh, the date, they still want it on the same date as well. And notice this, it's now marked that this is the estimate for the second one.
Sorry, the second one. What do you mean?
Because remember when we did our first estimate, right? That was 2025 number
Oh,
1. This is the second one.
okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I forgot to put the class too because there's San Jose. Again, we're using the custom template for this one. This one, your book says it's already defaulted, so everything looks good, right? Once everything looks 100% good, we're gonna charge them Santa Clara. So then now we can go ahead and save and close. All right, and then there is, what does that say? The credit limit. Okay, so if you ever get this window where it says the credit limit has exceeded, go ahead and ignore that because this is just an example. This isn't a real life scenario, and this is an estimate. It didn't even process as a real invoice. So in this case, their estimate has pushed them over the credit limit balance. You can either, again, if it's over by like $20, you can process that. That's completely fine. But if they owe you way more than that and they haven't paid you, then yeah, you may want to make sure they pay first before entering something in like this. But this is not for another 4 years. So again, when you get that error message that a credit limit has been reached, you have the option to whether you either deny it or accept it. Now in this case, it's just an estimate. They're not going to agree to it 100%, right? Again, an estimate doesn't affect anything. Now, in this case, right, let me go back to that estimate real quick. So, again, I can go back by clicking the previous one. Now, if you want to, instead of it, let's say they do agree and say, yes, let's go ahead and do it. I want to go ahead and process this and let's go ahead and have this photo session done. What you can do here is at the very top of the window, you can create the invoice right here. And by doing so, right, if I click on create the invoice, okay, it's going to give you this window here where it says, well, do you want to create an invoice for the entire estimate? Or do you want to break it down into what's called progress invoicing, right? I can choose how much of being able to do being able to break the estimate into pieces. So this is where you need to have that progress invoicing on in order for this window to appear. Now in this case, I don't want to process the entire estimate. What I actually want to do is I want to create an invoice for a percentage, okay, of the entire estimate. So in this case, it gives you a percentage and I want it to be 25%. Okay? What does this percentage do? Well, let me show you. So if I put in 25%, okay, or I have the option to create the invoice for selected items. So again, I can choose what I'm gonna charge him and what items they're gonna do this session, and then what items they're gonna do the next session. In this case, I want 25%, and I'm gonna click OK. What's gonna happen is it's gonna build an invoice, right, with all the information. But watch this. It split all of my values, right? It says that we're gonna have 5 hours, 5 photographers, 10 photo papers, and 1 retouching. Okay? And what is this? This is going to be basically, I want 25% of the job to be billed on the first day, because in this case, they want to do this. They wanted to do this on a span of 4 days. So they're telling us, well, I want this photo session per day to have this many people, that many hours, that many photo papers, and etc. Okay? And in this case, right, again, you're breaking the estimate in terms of percentage wise. So in this case, maybe the first day was on the 14th. Okay. Again, thank you for your business. And what you're going to do here is it says right here, wedding photo shoot, and you could say day 1. Okay. And of course, you want to make sure that your invoice is going to be different as well. So 2025-2. And once everything looks good, right, you could go ahead and save and close. Now, what happens? I only bill them for that one time. Well, of course, if you bill them for that one time, you could go back and create that invoice one more time. Okay. So if I do it this way, right, and I say, well, it's time to bill Anderson Wedding once again, Sarah and Michael. Okay. And it's going to pop up, well, you have an estimate built on that. You're going to click on this estimate and say, okay. You're going to get that second window where it says, well, are you going to process the entire estimate, or are you going to create, or do you want a percentage? Once again, if this is day 2, I'm going to say 25% again. All right. And then you're going to click OK. And it pops up the same exact thing. However, right, if this is day 2, then I'm going to say this was on Saturday. Okay. And instead of day, and again, right here, you say day 2. Okay. So that's how it makes it that much easier to go ahead and process your thing, right? And now I split my estimate into progress, right? I'm doing it day by day basis, and I'm billing based on a day by day basis. So whether the job was completed. Well, what if on day 2, one of the photographers decided to call in sick? Then, of course, you could go ahead and modify saying, well, I'm so sorry, Anderson. One of my photographers decided to call in sick. I wasn't able to get a substitute within the time to get to the wedding location, okay, for your photo session. So I'm going to charge you for less. I'm going to charge you for 4 photographers this time because of apparently only 4 of them were able to make it. So yes, you can bill them however you like it on the circumstances. Again, humans are humans, right? They can call in sick. So in this case, these aren't guaranteed, things. And then when it actually happens and the service actually happens, then, you bill them accordingly. So in this case, I'm going to make a modification saying, well, in this case, we unfortunately did not have that one photographer for that day. Okay. And then you can go ahead and save and close. All right. And it says now the credit limit has been exceeded. So this is where you have to make your executive decision because you're invoicing them. And I'm just going to ignore that and just say yes. Okay. So again, you can do that. Just make sure that you know that when you're doing the Anderson Wedding and that you're keeping track of each and every single invoice, that one of them, since the estimate it was for a total of 4 days, right? You need to make sure that every time you do your invoice and you're during your progress invoicing, that once you reach the 4th day, then the job is done. And then instead of the estimate, again, the estimate doesn't always have to reflect your total invoice because, again, things can happen along the way. But make sure that you do bill Anderson Wedding only 4 times. Okay? And here you go. I have invoice here and an invoice here. 2 of them separate dates, and then one of them, again, is for day 1 of the wedding photo shoot, and the other one is day 2 of the wedding photo shoot. Okay? So that's how you do progress invoicing. Okay? Okay. Any questions here?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Magni, I know you have a question. Okay, do you know how to unmute your mic? I know you know how to mute it, but can you unmute it? Okay. All right. Okay. If there's no other questions, okay, let's see what is next. Okay. So we just showed you an example of how to use progress invoicing. Okay. So here we are creating purchase orders from estimates. So yes, so as we look at our flow of transactions, right? In our QuickBooks, okay? If you create an estimate, it can become a sales order and it can become a purchase order. Now, this is only available to Premier and Accountant, okay? If you have downloaded the free trial for the Pro, QuickBooks Pro, unfortunately, you're not able to do this exact step here. Now, which is okay because, again, the book says it's primarily teaching you Pro, Premier, and Accountant. And this section's really, really small. Again, I would very highly doubt that they will test you on this. But once again, everybody's test is going to be different. So you might be that lucky one that gets that 1% chance of getting asked this question. However, since the book actually comes with Premier/Accountant, then yes, when you do activate your 5-month student trial, then yes, you should be able to do this next step here, where you can, when creating estimates, you can process and create purchase orders. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at our example here in the book. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my estimates, okay? And I believe we're going to be dealing with Miss Maria Cruz, branch opening, all right, San Jose, for the 19th of February, okay? And let's see what she wants. She wants a premium photo package, and she wants custom framing. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So once again, Maria Cruz, branch opening, San Jose. And again, we're looking on the 19th of February. Okay. Again, it's automatically set. This is the third estimate that you're creating for this year. Cool. Okay, so in this case, I can't remember, was it a premium photo package that they wanted? Yes. So they wanted a premium photo package, okay? And here they want custom framing. Was that a question?
I don't know. Magdi
It
keeps
looks like Magdi. It says Magdi has raised his hand.
Yes, Magdi, go ahead. Ask your question. We can't hear you. Your microphone is off. If anything, go ahead and ask Hector to unmute your mic. Okay. So here we are in the estimate. Okay. And here we have the custom framing. Now again, in quantity, let's take a look at our example here in the book. They want 1 premium package, but they want 4 custom frames. Okay. Magdi, if you can wait till the end of class, I can answer your question then. Because it seems like you're having issues with turning your microphone on and off. So I'll answer your question at the end of class, okay? All right, so one photo premium photo package and 4 custom frames. Now notice this. They say that we want to mark up the custom frames because once again, custom framing could deal with a lot of different things, right? It depends on one, the size of the picture. It depends on what kind of material they want the custom framing to be done, right? And it also there's a lot of things that have to be dealt with this. So in this case, I'm going to mark it up 50%. Right? So then here it's going to be now it says it says right here the price is 0. That's because it's a custom frame. I wouldn't know what the custom frame is except for here I would say, well, it will probably cost up to maybe $90 per custom frame. Okay, so in this case, since I'm marking it up 50%, it's going to be a total of $540, which is that correct? Yes, $540. Okay, so again, once this looks good, again, thank you for your business. And then of course you want to say here, one photo package. Yes, Magda, I can hear you. What's your question? Maggie? Okay. All right. So then, once again, I filled all my information, so then my estimate looks good. Now, here's what they tell you to do. Instead of clicking save and close, you can actually just save the transaction right here at the top by clicking save. Okay? And you'll stay on this window, but you already saved this transaction, but you're not actually physically closing this window. What they do here is now it's going to say, well, if you're going to go ahead and proceed with this custom framing, right, even though there is no invoice involved, you should still order the item so then you can be able to have it readily available in case this person does proceed with their invoice. In this case, you're going to go up to the top and it says right here, create purchase orders, okay? Right here, create purchase orders. Now again, because custom framing, right? I don't do custom framing. I actually have a separate vendor that does custom framing. So that's exactly why instead of creating a sales order, I'm creating a purchase order because I don't have the materials to be able to build it. I have to go through a third-party vendor to get the materials to be able to produce this custom framing for Miss Maria Cruz. So in this case, I would have to create a purchase order. And once again, I have to go through this. So I'm going to be creating a purchase order. So the question is, am I creating the purchase order for all the allowed items? In this case, a premium photo package has nothing to do. It's not something that I have to go through a third-party vendor for. I only need to select a specific item. In this case, I'm going to click on selected items. And I'm going to click OK. Okay. And then you're going to get this window here where it tells you, well, hey, which item are you actually wanting to process a purchase order for? And in this case, it would be for the custom frames. All right. 4 of them. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So once I have that, right, it's going to pop up my purchase orders like this, okay? And once again, if you have a designated third-party vendor who does the custom framings, in this case, Mr. Ace Supply is my person that I get my picture frames from. Okay, and they're the ones that also do custom framings as well. So again, Ace Supply is automatically there. Okay, And again, you have the custom framing, okay, for $90 a piece, but because that's what it's going to cost me, right? And I upcharged my customer a 25%, a 50% markup because, again, I'm going through I'm the middleman of this, right? I'm buying it at $90, therefore I'm going to go back and sell it out to my customer for for double half the price, right? So in this case, right, so it's going to cost me $90 each, and what this amount's going to be is a total of $360, okay? Now, once again, you're just doing a purchase order for this, okay? And you can even mark it on here that this is a vendor message. It's up to you what you want to say here. You could say custom frame for Maria Cruz. Okay. And then you have the information right here where it says one photo session, but in this case, one photo package. I don't need that. I need it to say the estimate, okay, which is the 2025-3, and it's for the 4 custom frames because in this case, that's what I'm purchasing from this vendor. Okay. So then I can, when everything looks good, right? Class of San Jose. There is a discount. Nope. So then you can go ahead and go click save and close. So once again, once you have that, right? Again, we'll talk about what you do with purchase orders and how you receive them, and then how you bill your person. So yes, in this case, you would actually have to build a new complete invoice, right? Or in this case, you could just create the invoice because you have the associated items available to go ahead and serve Maria Cruz, right? Okay. Any questions here?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's see if we're good on time. So it is 9:40 right now. So I believe, let's see. Let's take a look at the book. Okay. Let's see, we already went through this. We got the purchase order, okay? Now we're going to talk about how we can view and track our estimates. Okay.
Is that page 507?
Yes, 507. Okay. Viewing and tracking estimates. This is pretty straightforward. Okay. So again, so all the estimates that we've created, right? Some of them are potential. Some of them are things that, yes, we do, in fact, are able to, process them into invoices. But what if you made a whole bunch of estimates, and you are trying to figure out where they all are, or who are the people that you just did, right? So a great way to be able to view it is by going to the customer center itself. And then again, if you click on transactions, you actually have it categorized based on what those items are. So again, if you want estimates, you could drop down this window here. Okay, drop down. And it gives you a list of all the estimates right here on the right. Okay, so you can have a list of all of the estimates here. And what you could do is for those who you haven't contacted or haven't agreed to your terms, right? This is a perfect opportunity for you to keep track of all your estimates, all your prospected people, right? And be able to contact them and say, hey, are you still interested in my services? Is this something that you want to do? And that's what a lot of companies do, right? After they build a quote for you, they come after you a week later and say, hey, well, are you still interested? Is this something that you want? And of course, the customer has to make a decision. Well, it's either yes, I will give me some more time, or I found another person. Thank you. I'm not interested. All right. For any reasons that you have a bunch of estimates, okay, you don't need to delete them. Okay. Because at the end of the day, what if fast forward a year later, this person decides to show up again and say, hey, I'm actually looking for a potential, photo session. Okay. So again, these estimates or prospects or whatever you want to refer them to could be very, very useful for your company. Now, again, you also have to remember they're not guaranteed sales. So if you lost one, you lost one, okay? But that's okay because, again, you're always going to keep trying to get different customers, right? Some customers, maybe they look at your price and say, no, that's a little too much. It's too much over my budget. So of course, you don't want to be able to, You don't want to lower your price points for a specific individual, especially because, again, you're giving them special, opportunities where another individual who may come by the office and be like, well, why are you charging me $95 while you're charging them $75? That's not fair, right? So, again, you definitely want to make sure that you don't do those things. But however, your estimates, right, they don't affect anything in your company. They're just a list of your potential sales that you could reach out for to try to get them to buy into your product. So again, you can even go as far as looking up your sales order. You can even look it up by invoice. Okay. Yes, these are your transactions you can't do, but to locate all of your estimates, because you're going to be doing a whole bunch for random people, that's how you'll be able to locate it. And then because if you use that reference number or that coding, right, you could tell right here, these are all the estimates I built in 2025. Okay. So that's just how you're able to keep track of it. And of course, each one that you open up, right, should give you the customer's information right here. So you're able to go ahead and locate them and contact them. Okay. So that is it there. Okay. All right. Let's see, tracking estimates. Okay, you already know that. So you can run reports based on your estimates. That's also, once again, if you are the sales representative, or if you're the one that's just in charge of prospects or bringing in people into the company, then your job is pretty straightforward. You could run your reports based on your jobs times and here. So if I go ahead and click this right here, I'm able to find my jobs and find my estimates right here. Job estimates versus, go back. So jobs, estimates, and etc. Okay. So then you can run your estimates by job. Okay. You can run your reports that way. Okay. And let's see. Right? I believe the very last thing that I need to show you in chapter 13 is going to be doing customer deposits. This to me is probably one of the most important things that you should be learning in QuickBooks because, again, you're billing your customers thousands of dollars, right? Or you're building estimates for thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, again, if they agree to proceed, but then they flake out last minute and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to cancel, you just probably lost a lot of money just preparing and scheduling and doing all that stuff. So the best way to ensure that a customer is going to commit to you, right? You would ask for a customer deposit. Okay? Now again, a customer deposit is more essentially like a down payment in this case because again, you don't want to set up a project and then have them flake out last minute and be able to say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go through with it. And then with that being said, by you enforcing or having that agreement saying, well, this is a $5,000 project. I need at least a 50% down payment or at least 25%, whatever number that you want to do, right? So that means the customer is going to, give you a deposit, meaning like, hey, I mean, honestly, if I had to put $2,500 down to insure my spot, well, that's $2,500 that I could potentially lose if I don't show up. So that's why I'd be like, yes, I'm going to guarantee that this is something that's going to happen that day. So again, it's not a way, it's just ensuring that the customer is agreeing and that they are going to be inputting into the services that you provide. And basically what it is basically it kind of locks them down, holds them down, but also gives them an incentive to go through with the agreement. Okay. So in this case, again, this is very common of many, many, many businesses because even small businesses do this as well. Because again, small businesses, when they're looking at their potential sales, right? Because they don't have such a large pool of customers, they want to make sure that you go through with the agreement that you agreed on, right? They want to make sure that you are putting some initiative into saying, yes, I'm going to go through with this project. So in that case, this is what you need to do. All right. First thing you need to do is you need to ensure that you have the appropriate accounts and the appropriate items in order to set this up. Now, in this case, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a liability account. Because once again, when you create a liability account, again, because they're paying you in advance for something, you're accepting that money, so therefore you are obligated to owe them service. So that's the first thing you have to recognize is that when you're accepting a customer deposit, we learned that as a unearned revenue, right? Because you haven't completed the job yet, but you were given money to do the job that you haven't done yet. So in this case, we treat that as an unearned revenue. Now, in your book, right, we'll treat it as a other current liability, but you don't necessarily have to refer it as an unearned revenue. In this case, your book just basically says just name it as customer deposits, which is fine. So what you're going to do is right here, enter deposits held for work. That works too, to be performed in the description field. So in this case, right, let's see what the account that they want to put it in. So in figure, fill in the account number as 2300 in the account name, customer deposits. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that very first thing here is where I'm going to go view my chart of accounts right here, whether it's on the home page or on the menu bar, okay, under list. And here's my chart of accounts. And what I'm going to do is, once again, I'm going to go ahead and create a new account. All right. Once again, it has to be a other current liability. Okay. And I click on continue. And this, again, once I get to this window, this is going to be customer deposits. Okay. Account number 23,000. And my description is going to be, going to be customer deposits held for work to be completed. Right? So again, once again, because depending on what kind of business you are, we're not going to treat that as unearned revenue. We're going to treat it, the idea is the same. But again, every company has a different way of naming unearned revenue. In this case, this is an unearned revenue because they're paying you in advance for services that you haven't even done. You haven't earned the revenue yet. So in this case, we're going to rename it and say this is customer deposits. And it's a current liability, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Close. Now, the next thing you have to do is once you have that account, so here it is, customer deposits, right? You need to create an item because, again, when you look at sales forms or sales receipts, unfortunately, you only have the option to use items, okay? And we'll talk about what items are in Chapter 8. But if you guys remember, items is anything that's in regards to your sales process. So it's a list of all the products that you sell, the services you provide, the sales tax you charge, the discounts that you can...
Only sales?
Only sales tax. Only sales process, yes. Okay. So again, I pull up my item list right here on the home page under items and services. As you can see, this is only dealing with the sales process, right? You have all of your service items, the products that you sell, which is an inventory part, and we'll talk about that in Chapter 8. We have all the necessary things that you have to do, such as other charges, right? Sales tax, okay? And again, we need to create a new item for this particular part. Okay. So I have to go down to the bottom of my window and I have to click on new. And what I'm going to be creating is a new service item. Okay. And what this service item is going to be called is customer deposits. Okay. Description, it's up to whatever you want to put in there. We'll talk about units of measures later. But description is, again, customer deposits held for work to be completed. Okay. And then now it's going to ask you. So this is the part where it helps create the accounting behind the scenes. In this case, there's no rate to processing customer deposits, right? It's subjective to whatever the person is agreeing to. So it could be 50% of sales. It could be $500 down deposit. It could be $1,000. It doesn't matter, right? And because it's a service item, you're going to refer this as a service. And the amount or the account is going to be customer deposits. Okay. Once everything looks good, you're able to click OK. Okay, so now I have a service item called customer deposits. And yes, there it is. Okay. So now how do I actually collect customer deposits and how do I use it in terms of applying it to my invoice? Now in this case, right, just as standard as you would actually receive it as a sales receipt, okay? Because again, a customer is paying for something in advance. So what you're going to do here is, I believe the example we have in the book is going to be for Miranda's Corner. Okay, let's see, customer pay as customer deposits, right? So we're gonna apply this to the invoice for Miranda's Corner, and they gave us $800. Okay. Okay. So Miranda's Corner. M-I-R. Miranda's Corner. Okay. Miranda's Corner belongs to, I believe, they're Walnut Creek. Okay. Date is subjective unless otherwise. So in this case, Miranda's Corner, Walnut Creek on January 8th of 2025. Okay. And again, your sales number is it's whatever you want to put. So 2025-1. Okay. Okay, actually 103. Okay. And then again, it's going to be, they're going to pay using a Visa credit card. So credit card, but let me go ahead and fill in the information first. So what's the item that they did? They are doing a customer deposit. Okay. And they're doing it for the amount, so only one customer deposit for the total amount of $800. Okay. And of course, they used a credit card to process this payment. So again, you're going to be asked to put in a credit card number in here. In this case, right, we can make up a credit card number. So in this case, it's going to be Visa, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 888-851-2-3-1-2-3-4. I don't know. Whatever number you want to put in there. Okay, I don't believe your book tells you that, but I'm gonna click done. Oh, date, let's say it's the May 2022. Okay, wait, no, this is 25, so 27. Okay, done. Right, there you go. So now I'm going to accept this deposit, right, of $800. Okay, and once again, you're going to say thank you for your business. Okay, and you're going to say customer deposit for okay, customer deposit.
On there, they have photo shoot in March.
Okay, for photo shoot in March. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead. Everything looks good. Again, this is a service item because you're not gonna tax the person on the deposit, right? Whatever deposit they put is the amount they put. And I'm gonna go ahead and click save and close. Of course, what you're gonna do is you're gonna deposit the money, but in this case, we don't have to do that now. But now that we have that amount in there, right, as a as a deposit, what we're going to do is we're going to I'm going to see if Miranda's Corner actually has a pre-existing invoice. So let's take a look. So I'm going to locate Miranda's Corner. So here we go, Miranda's Corner. And see, she already has an invoice that's already there for the March thing. So we're already created one right here. So this one, again, if you are doing this as you're going in class, right, they already pre-made this invoice. Again, you would just set up that invoice the way it is, okay? So we actually already have that invoice already there. Now, what we're going to do is we need to actually apply that to the invoice by, in this case, we're going to where it says already created, and we're going to actually modify the actual invoice itself. So let's double click on that invoice. So this is Miranda's Corners invoice. All right. So as you can see, it's for the March 8th. Okay. Again, this is invoice number 2025-103. So all the information is already in here for her invoice. And what you're going to actually do is you're going to modify, right? Once again, modify your invoice to reflect, so when you actually send her this bill, it shows that she actually made a payment to this actual invoice. Now, how do we do it? Well, it's because since she did a customer deposit, right? Let's take a look at this. Right now, she owes me $1,697. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a line, and we're going to add your customer deposits in here. All right. Now let's notice this, right? It's showing to me as 0 because in this case, right, it's saying that we're adding that as part of something that she's supposed to create. In this case, we know because she gave us the deposit, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to enter in that her deposit was in quantity of 1, right? That she had 1 of these customer deposits, and it was for the amount of negative $800. So then at the end of the day, it's going to be calculated on here, and now it's going to reduce her invoice amount by the $800 to remain $897. And you have to do it on the invoice. You can't apply it as a credit because this isn't a credit, right? This is a customer putting their own money in towards their own invoice. So that's how you add it in here, and you're going to take it off as a line item because that was their deposit. That shows right here that it was for negative $800. And then you're going to go ahead and save and close. That means now Miranda's Corner now owes me for a total of $897. And this is what I'm going to be issuing her as a bill. Okay, save and close. Okay, now it says, do you made changes to this invoice? And you're saying yes. Okay, so again, when I click on that invoice once again, it saved all the information, and it still says that the next time I bill her, it's going to be for the $897 opposed to the $1,600 earlier. Yes, was that a question?
Well, in the book, it was just showing that they went to the balance sheet to find her $800.
To find her $800?
Yeah, the $800 deposit. You went to the invoice and pulled it out.
Let
Page
me.
514.
Page
Yeah,
514.
Oh, it's Clive. Oh, okay. This right here. This part right here. Go down a little more. Up, yeah, right there where it says, right there.
That's just to show you that you have a liability. Okay, keep going and reading, and it says right here, how do you apply the deposit onto the customer? You have to go by open Miranda's. Correct. Okay. That's just showing you that this is what happens on your balance sheet because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where did the customer deposit go? Well, it's considered a liability. That's all it's showing you right there. Okay, because then it says right here, open up Miranda's Corner invoice number 225-0103. I did that by going to the customer center, locating Miranda's Corner, and opening her invoice. And then everything else is exactly what I did.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's how you apply a customer deposit. Okay. Last but not least, okay. So if you guys can spare me another 20 minutes, because that's the last thing that we have for this class, right? Because we're done with chapter 13 after this. So here we have a small section for sales order. Well, Sales order is unfortunately only available for Premier and Enterprise. So just your luck if you have downloaded the Pro thing, the Pro instead of the Premier or the free 30-day trial for Pro. You're only able to do you can't do sales orders. Okay? And now in this case, what they basically say is, right, they tell you the difference between an estimate and a sales order, which I've already talked to you guys about, right? A sales order is the same thing where a customer requests a bunch of service and a bunch of products from you. However, the only difference is it's a guaranteed sale because a customer is saying, hey, I want this from you. Where an estimate is where, what is this amount? How much can I get? Or what is my total amount? So one of them, they already know what your prices are. So what a sales order does is it basically is when a customer decides to just call in and just order something from you, knowing what the prices are and saying, yes, please, I need this item now. So please, if I put in a sales order, can you get it to me by this amount of date? It's a guaranteed sale. So that's the difference between a sales order and an estimate. And how you process it is exactly the same exact way that you do an estimate. So instead of having to teach you a whole nother lesson about sales orders, it's the same thing as an estimate, right? You would do the same thing. You enter all information and you process it as an invoice and it does the same thing. So that's why in this section right here, it only gives you this small paragraph because it tells you every step it takes to be able to do an estimate is the same thing as you would do for a sales order. Okay? So
There's a
therefore,
difference between sales order and an estimate, right?
yes. And it's just the context of what the customer wants. Okay? Where a sales order is a guaranteed because they're ordering
Yeah.
something from you. Where an estimate is a potential order. They didn't agree to it yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was the difference. Okay, thank you.
So again, make sure you are aware the difference between a sales order and a purchase order. If it's a customer that you're dealing with, they do sales orders. If it's a vendor you're dealing with, you do a purchase order. Now it depends on what position you are as well. If you're the one that's selling something to a person, then you're going to create a sales order. But if you're buying something for somebody, you're going to create a purchase order. Okay. Now again, they essentially are the same thing, right? Just in context of who is the person, right? Who is the buyer? Are you the buyer or is the customer the buyer? Right? And that's the difference between a sales order and a purchase order. So once again, that is it for chapter 13. All right. So let's go over quickly the review questions. Okay. So starting with the multiple choice. Again, please select the best answer for each of the following. So number 1. Okay. Estimates help you to... What was that?
G?
D as in
D as in David or D as in dog is
yes,
correct.
D as in dog.
Correct. So A, it tracks your future sales. That's true. Okay. And of course, B, it also tracks how you actually, your actual revenues and your actual costs of the company. Okay. So in this case, yes. Okay. And D is correct. Number 2, creating an invoice from an estimate. What does it do?
B.
B is correct. It estimates, estimates, is the need to manually enter in estimates details on the invoice. Okay, so instead of, the way I read that, that's kind of weird, but in this case, yes. So what this does is, instead of when you create your invoice, instead of manually entering in the information, it automatically does it for you. So B is the correct answer. Okay. Number 3, which statement is false? So we're looking for the wrong statement.
Is it letter C?
Progress
Yeah, I do too.
progress invoice can create an invoice for the entire estimate, i.e., no progress invoicing. Okay? But only after the estimate is closed. In this case, yes, that's not true because that's not the only choice that you can do. Even if you have progress invoicing, right? You never have to close out an estimate. So therefore, you can always have a you can always do progress invoicing, and you could always activate that no matter what. Okay. Number 4, after a customer approves the estimate, you can create the following forms using QuickBooks Premier Accountant and or Enterprise.
I got C.
C is correct. Either both A and B, which is a sales order or a purchase order. So again, you have to have Premier, an accountant, or Enterprise to be able to do purchase orders from estimates and your sales orders. Okay. So then number 5 says that you should usually use the create purchase orders for selecting items button when creating purchase orders from estimates because D is correct. It is rare that you will include any or all service items on the purchase orders. Yes, because you don't purchase orders your services, right? You only purchase order items. So in this case, D is the correct answer. Okay. Number 6, you can view estimates by
Letter D.
D, which is going through all of the above, which is in the customer center, yes. On the estimates in the job reports, yes. And on the job estimates versus actual summary, yes. I didn't talk about those reports, but yes, you're able to view it that way. Okay. Number 7, if you want to see a list of your estimates for all of your jobs comma, create what? B, right? The estimates by job report. Pretty straightforward. Number 8, which statement is true? So three of them are wrong, one of them is true.
I think it's A.
Okay, let's see. Number 8 is A. So the one that is true is that to track open and closed estimates, okay, as they relate to the billings, okay, use the job estimates versus the actual summary report. In this case, once again, I didn't talk about the reports, but if you read your reading, that statement is actually true, okay? You have to manually close an estimate. Once again, you don't need to do anything with estimates. You can leave them open, you can leave them closed. There's no closing estimates, okay? And then the job progress invoicing versus the estimates report shows all estimates. In this case, I don't think there is a job progressing invoices. And then none of the above is obviously wrong. Okay. Number 9, okay, for general ledger activity, so sales orders closely resemble which other form in QuickBooks?
I think
B.
it's letter C or B.
Yeah, I go with C.
Number 9, okay, so
I was confused between B and C.
okay, C is not the correct answer. In this case, B would be the correct answer because in this case, sales orders, right? Sales orders does not affect any accounts. Does not, it's not a, it's, you have to process the sales order as an invoice, right? To ensure that you are increasing your accounts receivable. So if you do an invoice, that is affecting all of the accounts, because when you enter in an invoice, it increases accounts receivable. So something that's similar to a sales order is going to be an estimate, because it's a non-posting transaction. So this one actually has a little further into detail of what it is, but you're correct. If you're looking at visually wise, yes, all the forms look the same, right? If you actually really think about it, a sales form, an estimate, an invoice, a sales receipt, they all look the same. The only difference here is it's looking in context of what it actually does in QuickBooks. So a sales order, right, is a non-posting transaction. So is an estimate. It's a non-posting transaction. It doesn't affect anything in the company. Where an invoice, a bill, and a sales receipt, they do affect your company's accounts. Okay, so the correct answer is B, estimates. Okay. Number 10, if you do not have enough stock on hand to fill orders, you can.
B. B as in boy.
So number 10, no.
I'd
A.
say A.
A is correct. You're going to create a purchase order from the sales order using QuickBooks Premier Accountant and so on and so forth, right? Now, in this case, let's take a look at B. You're going to send the customer an order delay receipt from QuickBooks. In this case, we just learned everything there is about customers. Was there ever an instance where we had a order delay receipt? I mean, yes, you should send your customer an email saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, but we're low on inventory, so we're gonna have to delay your shipment." But there is no actual form for it, right? All right. Number 11. If you wish to create multiple purchase orders from a single estimate.
D like David.
D like David. Let's see. 11 is correct. D like David. You're going to select the create purchase orders for selecting items button in the create purchase orders based on the sales transaction in the window. Yes, that little window, you can select it. And again, if you're processing multiple purchase orders, you can do that over and over and over again, right? You just open the estimate, click that section for processing purchase orders, and you can make multiple of them. Yes. Okay. And that is it for chapter 13. Okay. So once again, there is still an hour and